Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since I've done a proper movie review, so please bear with me if this just goes off the rails. The movie I saw this week is a sci-fi thriller called Life, and it's directed by Daniel Espinosa and it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds, and Hiroyuki Sanada. The movie takes you in a thrilling adventure where these scientists in a space station encounter evidence that there is life on Mars, or was a very long time ago. They provide this inactive single-celled organism with the right environment and amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in order for it to be reanimated again, and lo and behold, there was definitely life on Mars at some point, and now they are manipulating it. But of course, as sci-fi movies go, it doesn't end there. It's not just beautiful, peaceful new life on this universe. The organism starts to grow, it starts to thrive in its new environment, and of course it starts to become hostile and deadly. And now these scientists that are in contact with the first known life form outside of Earth have to either contain it or destroy it, and hopefully stay alive while they do that. The movie does a very good job at keeping you interested in the very first third of the movie, I would say. It starts with a very long establishing shot which kind of reminds you of Gravity. You get to know the spaceship, you are right in the middle of the operation where they're going to retrieve the evidence. So right from the very beginning, you're immersed in this world, you understand what their mission is, and there's like this very strange, mysterious tension about the entire thing. And immediately we start prodding and poking this life form, and the movie just goes on from there. Now that part is incredibly tense because you have no idea what this organism is going to be like. It starts as a single cell, it starts evolving, and you can get the idea that it's going to become hostile, but you have no idea to what degree. Also, you don't know which form it's going to take, you don't know at what moment it's going to do it, so that entire first part, it was a lot of fun and a little bit scary. I think they do a good job in making you feel like maybe we shouldn't have done this, maybe this mission wasn't what we thought it would be, maybe we really shouldn't be trying to delve into things we know nothing about. But I also think after that particular point, something about this creature is already very established and it doesn't change that much throughout the entire movie. Therefore, the tension kind of peaks and plateaus at a certain point, and there's nothing new that they bring to the story. Now, the alien in itself is very cool. They call it Calvin because people on Earth are very aware of this mission that is happening. They're very aware that they're finding new life forms in space. And the school decides that they're going to name it after their own school, so they call it Calvin. Anyway, the alien is called Calvin. I love the design of it. It's nothing like any other alien you have seen in any movie. It has a lot of qualities of an octopus, so there's a lot of like tentacle, limbs, and it kind of moves around like Hank in Finding Dory, you know, where he climbs stuff and he slits down and he wraps around everything. I know it's a really weird comparison to make, but it always reminded me of that as I watched the movie. It's a badass villain that doesn't talk, it's just all action and trying to survive in this new environment. The problem is they make him so powerful and such an incredible deadly force that it's very hard for you to twist it around and see that the humans have the advantage. There's a moment where you fear that there is a very definite predator and a very definite prey, and I think in order for it to have been more interesting, you needed to kind of switch that around, and both sides need to be almost equally strong, if not in force, maybe in intelligence, because if not, it just feels like you're setting someone up for failure from the very beginning. I've heard this movie takes a lot from other sci-fi classics like Alien. I feel like it also took a lot from Gravity, at least in production design and in the work of the camera. So yes, in a very simplistic way, the story is something you are familiar with. There's an alien on board, it's going to kill everybody, and we need to do something before it destroys us. But to that you can add a lot of details and embellishments that would make it its own thing. And as much as I like this movie, because I thought it was really interesting and it definitely keeps you on your toes, there's something about it that feels very simplistic, and not in a good way. It feels basic. It feels like something you have seen before. Is it enjoyable? Totally. I think you would absolutely enjoy the movie through and through, but there's something about it that you feel it's not gonna change your perspective of this genre. It's not going to bring anything particularly new, except something maybe a little more modern looking. It's not a bad thing to have, especially nowadays, because we've had a lot of movies that have focused on the very sort of deep, spiritual, multi-dimensional levels of space and time, which I think it's really cool. And if not that, we focus a lot on the survival of humanity in space with movies like The Martian or Gravity. Gravity is a very simple story, but it stands on its own 2 feet because the story is pretty unique. The way they handled the camera work, everything about it felt very revolutionary. The Martian is all about science, and it involves humor, and it keeps you very interested, even though there's a lot of scientific jargon. it doesn't feel like they're losing you. You're right there with them. With this movie, it feels like a plot that you've heard before with a lot of scientific terms that don't really seem to matter and they don't really take you through them. I think another problem that the movie might have had is that even though the initial shots establish the spaceship, I never get a very good sense of how the ship is mapped out. And this is a very important matter because, like I said, it's a movie about cat and mouse, and if someone's being chased, you kind of need to get the feeling of the space they're in and where they're being chased. That was something that I didn't catch very well. Maybe I was just not paying attention, or maybe they just didn't explain it well enough. But if you're gonna have an alien chasing you around, or getting into all kinds of nooks and crannies to try and find you, I need to know the space you're in, because that's a way for the audience to establish themselves in the movie and feel that tension and feel that panic. Other than that, the production design was wonderful. The effects were great. Like I said before, the design of the alien is really good, and I think they kept very accurate to any kind of laws of physics and space. That being said, I'm not an expert, so you watch the movie and let me know. I do feel, though, they kept certain science to a minimum, so in that sense the movie feels modern and appropriate for a space movie, but it doesn't feel smart. There's something lacking in this movie. There's a lack of sophistication in the dialogue, in the actual message it's trying to bring out. Because what we're focusing on is that, yes, there's life outside of Earth, and maybe we should not have tampered with that. And it also tries to focus on the fact that in order for life to be created, other things must be destroyed, including somebody else's life. It just brings you the question of what if there's life somewhere else, but then it doesn't really show you much about it. It doesn't bring you any more questions, it doesn't bring you any more intrigue. It feels like any other monster movie, but it's just set in space. Overall, I think you're going to enjoy the movie if you like sci-fi space movies, but I don't think you're going to end up feeling like it's a new addition to this great genre. Like, for example, when The Martian came out or Interstellar, those are movies that add something new to the genre, but I feel like Life brings you something that you already know. It's pretty great, it's pretty standard, but that's about it. You're gonna leave the theaters and maybe not think about it that much. So guys, that is my first review in a really long time, and my review of Life. So let me know, what did you think about the movie? Let me know in the comment sections down below. Let me know if you like movie reviews in my channel. I know I haven't done them in a really long time, normally because I'm always late to the movies, but if you want to see more of them, I will do a very big effort to go and watch them on time and tell you what I think of them. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you have a great week. I hope you get to go to the movies, and I will see you on our next movie date. Bye!